Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you like the content on my channel and you want to see more kind of stuff like this, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow and keeps me being able to review kind of weird and funky watches like what we have in front of us here. This one here is actually the Ball Engineer 3 Marvelight Chrono, and it's just kind of, it's got, I tell you what, it's got a bit of heft to it, this watch. It's very reminiscent, I think personally, of the Rolex Milgauss, because the case size, it just feels very, well, the case head, that is, feels very similar. And there's a couple of similarities also we'll get into a little bit later. But before I start this review, I've got to say a massive thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis Gaye for allowing me to review this watch. They've got so much stock, guys. If you're in the Midlands area, pop in, have a look at the watches. If you can't make it, check out the link to the website. I'll leave it in the description below. They've got plenty of cool watches. So anyway, first things first, let's talk sizes. We've got a 40mm case diameter. Now, the thickness of the watch, if you exclude the Cyclops, it's down to 12.8 roughly, and we've add an extra mil on for the Cyclops. Now, the lug-to-lug size is 46.6, and the bandwidth on this, well, the bracelet, I should say, really, is 20mm in width. So basically, real classic proportions, I'd say. But let's have a look at the dial, because let's face it, this watch is all on a, is all about that kind of funky dial. Let's face it, it really does look the part. Now, when we come, obviously we've got this massive, this orange dial. It just looks so blooming good, I think, in the light. It really does look cool. It's actually an enamel dial. That's how they do it, and that's how you get this real nice finish going across it there. I think, personally, it looks tremendous. Now, we also have this contrast against these black hands, and I really quite like them. I like the fact you've got the black on the hands and also around the hour markers. Gives it a real kind of break between the two, and you've got a massive amount of contrast going on there. We do have a ball written in black and all out there. Now, I must admit, personally, it's just me, I'd like to see less text on there, because it does seem like it's rather full of text. The only text you've got to really kind of take note of here is the 1000 Gauss and the 100 meters wall resistance and the chronometer. They didn't have to put that on there, but that's just how it is personally. Now, what Ball is known for is the use of tritium tubes. That's what's indicated down here by the T25. So this, what we mean by that is most watches have superluminova or something like that, where it uses the light. It stores the light from a light source, and that's how you get the glow. Now, this doesn't have to worry about any of that. These here glow all the time. Okay, they don't glow that bright that you can see them in normal daylight, but I've took a picture in pure darkness and you can see just how well they glow. Unfortunately, it's really hard to get the camera to zoom in on sync when it's in darkness, so bear with me on those pictures. Now, the hands, both second, hour and minute, do have the little tubes, and there you can see them there. They do, I must admit, it is a very cool system. It just works. It is very cool. Now, we do have the data at 3 o'clock position, but we're going to have the love it or hate it. We do have a Cyclops on this. Now, I don't mind a Cyclops so much, but I understand that some people do. Now, there are ways of removing a Cyclops. So, if that was a bit of a deal breaker for yourself, just remember, you can always remove this if you wanted, so it's not the end of the world really. Now, we do have a sapphire crystal with AR coat in there, and I must admit, I love when you look from the side, you really get an idea of just kind of the 3D-ness, the depth of that dial, with the contrasting markers and hands and so forth and dial. It just does look good. We have obviously a polished bezel. I say the case of the watch reminds me so much of the Milgauss. Really does, I think. Now, we have a signed crown there. Let's unscrew it, because it is a screw down crown. As I say, you do have 100 meters of water resistance with that. Let's just pull it out, get that hand that away. And there you go. Now, as we come round to the back of a watch, we do have the railway engine there. Because what Ball basically became famous for was back in the olden days in the West, in America, when they were running the trains. Because the simple fact is, not everyone at the time was using accurate watches. And there was once quite an accident involved because there was basically discrepancy in timekeeping, and so Ball were one of the companies who were actually brought on board to basically, they wanted an accurate timepiece, and Ball was one of those companies who contributed to that. That's why the saying goes, "Get on the ball." So that is actually where it comes from. Now, underneath that. Now, one thing we'll get to, underneath that is a soft iron core covering up the movement, and that is what's part of this anti-magnetic feature here. It features 1000 Gauss of anti-magneticness, which is again a similar feature to where the Milgas also has a soft iron core, but I think that's about 3.5 Gauss. It can withstand because it doesn't have things like a date window. But underneath that, there is a chronometer spec movement. So that movement, I think Ball call it the 1103C. Now, it's not an in-house movement. It actually used to be the ETA 2824, but I think most probably nowadays they will probably be using the SW200. So I put it on the time graph, and to be fair, it did a sterling job. It came out at +3 seconds, which is very admirable. Now, it will have a minimal power reserve of 38 hours on this watch, and being it's in the SW200 will most probably have 26 joules. If it's the older 2824, it'll only have 25. But it's just, a solid workhorse of a movement. Now, as we come round here, one thing I should also point out before I leave this bit, they basically also has a very good anti-shock system in there. So it can take 5G of shock. Now, I'm not sure how they do this. I don't know if it's like Bremont where they have like a rubber ring around it. I'm not sure, but it does have very good shock resistancy. The bracelet does have this kind of unique kind of look to it there with these raised center links. It is actually screwed, which is a nice touch. Now, the clasp on this is a fold over. Let's move that out there. We have a fold over butterfly style. So what that means, though, there isn't any on-the-fly micro adjustment. What you have to do is you can remove these half links or add them in, whatever works for you. We do have a Ball sign-in on the back. So to actually release the bracelet, you just pull like that. There are no push pins on this. Now, if I zoom out, I'll show you this on my wrist. My wrist size is 7.25. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing the first gen Rolex Batman. And Bob, what do you have there, sir? GMT Prospex. I haven't got focus. Some new Seiko. Looks like a Sumo, actually. So let's put this on. Have a look. There you go. Now, I must admit, I know it's not going to be for everyone, this bright orange, but I think it looks really quite cool. I think it's quite a cool looking watch. I think it'd also look quite good on a black leather strap with some orange stitch, maybe. That could just be it. But anyway, let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you guys think about it? Anyway, all the best, and most importantly, stay safe out there. Bye.